Okay, I've been traveling a lot, and I'm tired. I'm taking a break from the Kendrick Lamar, Drake beef to try to make a video that I've been meaning to make for a very long time. Yeah? This is a story about a young songwriter, aka me, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Actually, I don't even remember. I don't have like a good timeline of when this was going on. But I know that it was a while back. It was definitely about a decade ago. I had aspirations to make some music. I didn't know that I wanted to make an album or that I wanted to officially release music, but I had a creative itch, energy that needed to get fulfilled. And I had already been playing guitar and wanted to exercise that medium further. So I'm in high school. I am learning as much music as I can on my guitar. I'm literally all over the place. On one side of part of my day is filled with legendary guitar solos, and then the other part of my day, I was on Eddie Hazel at Parliament, and I was listening to Prince a lot. His instrumental albums, not necessarily his pop stuff, for another day. But I was trying to figure out what kind of guitarist I want to be. And I liked John Mayer. I was a big fan of John Mayer. I think he had only released Continuum. He hadn't released, or maybe Battle Studies. I'm not sure. But I really liked the way he composed his music. I really liked the way that he wrote his lyrics. I think he's a masterful lyric writer. And like any good musical scholar, I was in the trenches. I was deep diving B-sides, live performances of songs that were not released. I was in that bag. I was scouring through the depths of YouTube trying to find the thing that nobody was listening to, because I didn't just want to learn Gravity, right? And I come across a lot of B-sides that I really like, i.e. Covered in Rain, i.e. Tracing, i.e. Over and Over. I get to that song. I really like that song. I think it's catchy. I always wondered why he never put it out. Sure, there was plenty of reasons at the time, but in the moment, I was telling myself, man, I really like this song. So I learned it. I learned the song. And I was having a good time. It was one of the first times that I had picked up a song by ear. Mind you, I hadn't really studied a lot of music theory at the time. I was doing a lot of things by ear, probably the wrong kind of ear training, but alas, I was being really creatively fulfilled. I was in it. I was obsessed. So I learned the song. I learned the lyrics. I start playing it around a couple times a week. It really becomes part of my practice mode, ritual thing. I end up playing it live a whole bunch of times also. Really like that song. The song itself isn't crazy difficult. At the time, I struggled. Again, aspiring songwriter, guitarist, trying to learn the ropes, right? The song itself, not that hard. A major, F sharp minor, D major 9, E7, back to the 1. Not that hard of a song. I learned it, I played it all the time, I learned the lyrics, wasn't too confident in myself as a singer, but I did it anyway. I've ended up playing it quite a few times, live. It's kind of a regular in my set now. Here's me playing live at a wine bar.
Baby, you could jump 100 times and you still would never fall out of my graces, out of my graces. Let's say for a minute that you ever do, and it gets hard to look at you. Time will erase it. Time will erase it.
I changed some stuff around also, just because I knew that song wasn't finished. I was trying to add a little bit of flair to it. I wanted to challenge myself as a songwriter. I thought that John Mayer would have taken that song and it was primed for what would be a bluesy type of song. He's a blues guitarist. He prides himself as a blues guitarist. So I was like, let me try to get in that bag, right? So when I play it now, I add a lot of blues flair to it. But fast forward. Now I'm writing some songs that are mine. And I am at a crossroads, creatively speaking. I have a lot of creative energy, but I don't necessarily know where to go. I still am at the very beginning of what would be me considering myself a songwriter. So I've got a lot of creative energy. I need to let it out, but I don't know where to start. So what I do is I take chord progressions of songs that I already know, and I transpose them, maybe add a chord or two, just so that I can feel like I'm changing it enough, or that I can feel like I'm using that as a stepping stone so that I can move forward. Things that all songwriters do, things that all musicians do. It's part of the process. I don't know if I was doing it right, but I wanted to play. So what I do is I take that song, I transpose it a full step up. The song's originally in A major, so I change it to B major. I also add a chord to it. After the B major, I add an E flat minor chord, and then I run through the same cycle of chords. It gives it a little bit of a flair. So instead of sounding like, now it sounds like, different enough. So I start writing. I write a verse, I write a chorus, I write another verse, change up the chorus. The song is called Your Crazy Matches My Crazy. I'm having a really good time writing it. It actually happened really quickly. Again, the creative juices were already there. I just needed a direction. Kind of took it somewhere. I start writing a bridge. The bridge are two completely different chords. After the F sharp 7 here, I go into an E major 7. And I stay there, I vamp there in the bridge for a while. And it has this very floaty feeling. And I like that floaty feeling. I wanted to make the listener float a little bit. And that half-step interval thing, without getting too nerdy, is really helpful for that. Here's the studio version of that song, how it ended up shaping up.
And darling, 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 say that you're falling, falling, falling under the stars. They're calling, calling. Your crazy matches my crazy.
Here is that bridge in the studio version of the song. Really proud of it.
And if I never, never, never get to do all the things that lovers, lovers, lovers do, if I never, never, never get to say that I will never let you down,
And then here is a piano version of the bridge, which I actually really like. This kind of like unplugged, stripped down, just me and the keys. It actually sounds really beautiful.
and if I never, never, never get to do all the things that lovers, lovers, lovers do, if I never, never, never get to say that I will never let you down, and I'll never, never, never let you down, I'll never, never let you go, I'll never, never make you frown, I'll never, never, don't you know that I won't never be the one that'll sever all forever, just as long as we're together, baby, listen to me.
So as it turns out, recently, John Mayer has put out some information about Over and Over, the song that I used as a stepping stone to write my song. And I learned a couple things. One, he did not get bluesy with it. He showed a studio version, or a demo of a studio version of that song on, I don't know if it's a podcast or if it's a radio thing, I don't know. He debuted it. And the song does not sound anything like what I thought that song was going to sound like, which is a testament to creativity and maybe his genius and how artists see things in their head very differently than how people perceive it, especially if it's a unfinished thing, right?
You can cut your hair just to grow it back, or dye it till the sink turns black. I recognize you, I recognize you. And when you lost your way, but I'm doing fine, I leave and lose my place in line. I help you find whatever you think you're looking for.
So that was actually really enlightening. It was really fun to hear it. But then, while I'm hearing it, I'm going through the chords in my head. And then, it's like starts to dawn on me. Did I learn how to play this song wrong? I deep dive some more. I find a version, a video online of John Mayer playing that song. And it turns out, I didn't learn it right. It turns out that me from 10 to 12 years ago learned the song by ear in what I thought was the right way to play it. But as it turns out, that's not how he played it at all. Par for the course whenever you're learning something and you're not actually watching it and you don't have any like visuals to try to help you. It's all by ear. And I started to laugh. I started to like really find that really hilarious because one, I really thought that I had learned that song the right way and I felt like really proud of myself for a while, thinking like, oh man, I learned this song by ear, this and that. And at the same time, I felt a little annoyed because I'm like, see, now I want to learn the song for real. Now I want to be true to the song. And I started kind of trying to learn it, like trying to do what he does to see if the song feels different or if that influenced the direction that he took for the studio version. And then while I'm learning how to play it, it dawns on me. There's a very valuable lesson to be had in this story, in my story. One, there's something really magical about the beginning of when you love to do something and you are so energetic about it that just anything new that comes into that space feels so fresh and so revitalizingly youthful that you just run with it. It just feels great, right? Learning that song by ear made me feel great, and it fueled me for years, really. So much so that it became the template for a song that I eventually recorded, that I eventually went to the studio and felt really confident about, that I eventually put a lot of instrumentation to, that I eventually put out for public consumption. And I'm proud of that whole trajectory, but knowing that I learned the progression wrong to begin with makes me realize that there's also something very beautiful about being that confident in yourself. And that you can make a lot. You can make a lot of art with very little things. Because I didn't have a lot of music theory information at the time. I can describe why that song is effective on a music theory level now because I have formulated more vocabulary and experience. But at the time, it just felt good. I don't know how to describe it to you. It just felt good. And that feeling really carried through, and that makes me feel very proud. It makes me realize the beauty of my ignorance. And 12 years later, I now feel a new sense of energy. I feel reinvigorated for any future songs that I'm writing because I know that the beginning doesn't have to be correct in order for me to end up at a place that I feel really proud of. And I think that that's great. I think if more artists operated in that way and weren't ashamed of not starting off correctly, then I think we would get a lot more art from people. And I can't imagine a world where that's not beneficial. More art in the world from people that are genuinely getting their creative energy and fulfillment and then just doing it for the sake of their self-preservation and their sanity, which is what I was doing at the time. So anyway, That is how John Mayer helped me inadvertently write one of my singles for my first album, Your Crazy Matches My Crazy. Check out the studio version. There's a piano version, unplugged version, online on YouTube somewhere. I will be back, who knows when, probably telling you another story about how my journey as a musician has been, at the very least, unconventional. But until next time, see you later. Peace.